Here we have our explanation for our state diagram and simulation of our vending machine that consisted of inputs with nickels and dimes, and we had two separate items that you could select from. So we had potato chips, which would cost 30 cents, and candy, which cost 35 cents. And so here's our state diagram. The way it works is as you put in nickels or dimes, you will transition through each state until, and also, no, it doesn't really matter what the potato chips or candy is chosen, because we won't have enough money for it until we get to state 6, where it is 30 cents. At the state 6, if potato chips is chosen, we're going to return back up to state 0, and we're going to vend the potato chips because we'll have enough money for that. If not, we're going to stay. If candy is selected, we're going to stay in state 6. And then if we receive a nickel or dime, we'll go to state 7 if we receive a nickel, and state 8 if we receive a dime. Once we're in state 7, if we receive potato chips as our input from the user, because it's in the 35 cents, change is going to be then set to 1, as well as vending chips is going to be set to 1. And we'll return back to our 0 state. If chips is chosen, then because chips cost 35 cents, vend candy, not chips. If candy is chosen, because it costs 35 cents, then vend candy will be set to 1. And then if we're in state 8, which will only occur if we get a dime when we have 30 cents, you can only choose candy. And so change will be equal to 1 because it is 5 cents over, and vend candy will be equal to 1 as well. So if we go to our code, and we look at our code for our vending machine, we see that our inputs are going to be a clock, a reset, nickel, a dime, potato chips, and candy. And then our outputs will be to vend chips, to vend candy, and to give change. So if the reset is 1, then we will remain in our state 0, and that means that we have 0 cents. Else, on a rising edge clock, our current state will be equal to our next state. In state 0, that means we have 0 cents. Vend chips, vend candy, and change will be equal to 0. If we receive a nickel, then we'll go to the 5 cent state. If we receive a dime, it'll go to the 10 cent state. If we're in state 1, which is 5 cents, vend chips, vend candy, and change are still 0. If we receive a nickel, we'll go to the 10 cent state, and if we receive a dime, we'll go to the 15 cent state. And that pattern will continue on until we go to state 30 cents. And if we receive a potato chips input of 1 and a candy input of 0, which is the only type, it can be either or, it can't be both, then we will vend the chips. We don't have any change, so change will still be 0, and then candy will be 0. And we'll return to the first state to start over our vending machine over. Else, if candy is equal to 1 and potato chips is equal to 0, we're going to stay in that state. We're going to also not vend anything because we don't have enough money to vend the candy. And we'll then check, if we get a nickel or a dime. If we get a nickel, we'll continue to the 35 cent state. If we get a dime, we'll continue to the 40 cent state. Once in the 35 cent state, if we get potato chips, we're going to dispense the chips as well as give change because we're 5 cents extra, and we're going to return to state 0. If we get candy in the 35 cent state, we're going to vend candy and return to state 0. No change is needed. And if we do in fact come to the case where we are at 40 cents, then you can only choose candy because we won't need to choose potato chips. We would have already gotten potato chips if that was the case. Then you can vend candy, and you'll also get change for 5 cents. And then so here's our test bench, and we want our clock to have the fastest frequency. We want our reset to have a larger frequency or slower frequency so that we are able to see how the reset works, but for a short amount of time. And our nickel and dime, they're in their own process as well. Candy and potato chips are in their own process. So if we look at our wavelength, here we can see test after we have our clock, our reset, our nickel, our dime, our potato chips, our candy, then candy as an output, then chips, and change. And so after our reset is 1 on the first positive clock edge, if we want to zoom in, on the first positive clock edge after the fact, we get a nickel, which is 5 cents. We get a dime, which is 15 cents. We get another dime, which is 25 cents. And as we see, we're going to get another dime, which is 35 cents. And oh, no, we don't get a dime. My bad. We get a nickel, which is 30 cents. And so that means that while we have 30 cents and we check to see what food choice we have, which is potato chips, we know that potato chips is 30 cents. So we're going to be vending the chips and not receiving any change as an output. We can see another example, maybe one where you receive change. Let's do that. So at the first positive edge, it's going to be a dime, so that's 10 cents. On the next one, it's another dime, so it's 20 cents. We have a nickel, which is 25 cents. We have another nickel, which is 30 cents. However, we chose candy, so we don't have enough money, so we're gonna wait to the next positive clock edge. And then we're gonna have a dime, which is 40 cents. And we still have candy, so we're gonna have 5 cents of change left, which is here, which we can see that it also vends as well. So we know that our state machine works.